Well, my dearest Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I think I'm choking on the smoke.
We're both dying, and so we have to apologize to all of our listeners because we are hacking up lungs.
Yeah.
And it's not our fault. It's California's fault.
The president clearly said if Jerry Brown would stop shooting the rivers into the ocean and cut down all the trees, there wouldn't be any fires.
Yeah, but he hasn't figured that out, and somehow Nevada hasn't figured out how to prevent the smoke from getting all the way to us.
Right. So we have burning throats.
We have the phlegm is strong with us.
So many apologies to our beloved listeners for listening to us try to breathe.
Yeah. But what we will do is have a little. I wanted to get into what the Bible tells us so.
Yeah.
I do love a good Bible story.
You bet.
A little later in the show, we're gonna hear about we're gonna hear from a much better expert of the Bible than myself.
That's right.
But for now, I decided we'll start at the beginning. In the beginning,
oh dear,
there
God.
was Genesis, and
Okay.
I think we're gonna start with the first two chapters.
Is this going to take 6 days?
It may or may not. That really depends. I didn't want to get into the Adam and Eve story, really.
Right.
We're just going to talk about the creation of the earth.
Right.
Now, one of the things that you and I were spared in our Mormon upbringing,
Yes.
that poor Uncle Doug was not, was the Mormon version of the creation, which if you go through the Mormon temple ceremony, or if you watch the videos of the Mormon temple ceremony on the YouTube, you get this whole very repetitive thing where God sends Jesus to create, who then sends Michael, who then later becomes Adam, and it's a very
And then Nelson and then
convoluted process.
Oren. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I just want, here's the thing. You read how God created the world.
Yep. And it's all there. It's all there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Everything you need.
Yep.
What fascinates me about this whole thing is that Christians want us to read their book.
Sure.
If you read the first 2 chapters of their own book,
Right.
you're already lost.
Yes.
It's already contradicted itself too much to be possibly true.
Yes, it trips over its circumcised dick immediately.
Instantly, and we're going to talk about that. So
Right.
the creation goes a little bit like this.
Yeah. Hit me.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. This is King James version, just in honor of Uncle Doug.
Yeah.
And the earth was without form
Yes.
and void. I'm not sure why. It seems like earth would have a form.
It seems like void would be the thing before earth.
It would be the thing that, yeah.
Right.
But I think void in this case just means it got nothing on it.
Okay.
And darkness was upon the face of the deep, so we know that there's water. There's
Right.
the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters.
Yes.
So he's a sailor.
He's a water skier.
He is.
Yeah.
But just his face.
Yes.
Oh, no, just his spirit. Anyway, on the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So apparently when he invented light, it was still merged with darkness. He separates them out. That's day one.
So that's called twilight. That's like the middle.
Something like that.
Right? That's okay.
God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
And he created the earth and the sky in total darkness.
Right.
When he had the capability to make a work light.
Yes. Yeah,
But-
he realized after he created those, this would be easier if I could see.
He didn't know there was that thing on the iPhone where you flick up and you get the little flashlight.
Right. He didn't have that. God had not created the
Probably
iPhone
had the
yet.
iPhone 6.
Right.
Right.
That's the 7th. That's the 9th day
That
that he creates the iPhone. So all we've got so far is heaven, earth, light, and dark
it's a good start. It's for day one.
for day one.
Huzzah.
Yeah. Day 2 comes along, and things get a little bit squirrely as far as I'm concerned. God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament.
Okay, so the firmament I would take to mean the stars.
No.
No.
The firmament is essentially, and this is, we get, basically just consider, we got to go flat Earth on this.
Why not?
And there's a dome over it.
Okay.
And it's a solid dome because we don't want the water in the sky. You know how the sky is made of water?
I've paid enough attention to Ken Ham and his shenanigans that I know about this a little bit. Yes.
So the sky is made of water. There's a dome over it. Other translations don't call it the firmament. Other translations call it what do they call it? I could look it up.
A dome.
A vault. They call it a vault.
Oh, a vault. Okay, interesting. The vault of the sky.
The vault. It's vaulted. The sky is vaulted. That keeps the water up top from. And when it rains, I guess it's leaking. I guess that's just the vault, the firmament leaking. Yes. And he divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above it. And he called the firmament heaven. And then there was morning and evening, and ta-da, that was day 2.
So day 1, impressive.
Light and dark,
earth, sky, ocean, and the sun.
Right.
Day 2,
it feels like he's just created sort of a bladder to keep earth and heaven from crashing into each other.
Yeah,
he's created a thing.
He found a pond liner.
Right. Maybe he created earth and heaven, and they kept bumping. And he was like,
I don't know if I'm stealing your thunder, but this is that second day is where the young Earth creationists and assorted lunatics think that the water for the flood came from. Was from the external ocean.
The ocean on the outside.
The ocean on the outside, sure. Because obviously there's not enough water on Earth to cover all the land, or it would be doing it already.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and we'll get to more of that later.
We'll visit the Ark encounter another time.
Yes, indeed. So that was day 2? Day 3, we got dry ground.
Yeah.
And he moves all the water to one place.
Okay.
Don't worry, that's never explained why there's now water in many places, because he moves all the water into one place. Right. So all the water's into one place. He calls it the lands and the sea, and then he dumps some plants on there.
Okay.
So that's day 3. Day 4, he decides that it's confusing, this whole day-night thing, so he puts lights in the sky to separate day and night.
He already separated day and night on day 1.
No, he separated light and dark. Just hold your horses.
Oy.
So now we've got yeah, exactly. We've been having days this whole time.
Oy.
There's been there has been we keep hearing that there is a morning and then an evening and then a morning.
Right.
So we've had days and nights this whole time, but I guess the light situation was confusing. So
to whom?
So he puts in.
There's nobody there.
Shut your face hole. He puts in the firmament lights. There's a greater and a lesser light. Yeah. That's the sun and the moon.
Okay.
Not to be confused with sun, young moon.
That's right.
And then he puts the lesser light, and then he puts a bunch of stars up there. So basically what he's done is just added lights to this dome that he's put over everything.
And he did it because he fucked up on day 1.
Because it was confusing.
So day 4, this is day 4?
Day 4.
So day 4 is when you take a look around and go, here's what I got wrong on the first 3 days.
Right, exactly.
Plus grass.
You're like, wait, what? Well, the grass was 3.
Oh, it was 3. Okay, so the shrubbery went in on 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently it wasn't growing very well because it didn't have any sunlight. So maybe that was the thing.
Okay.
Okay, so that's day 4. Day 5,
yeah.
Apparently it was very important that he create fish and birds.
Sure, I like to eat both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so thanks for that, God.
He created fish and birds, and then he told them to be fruitful and multiply to the fish and the birds. So I guess he also invented sex.
So he's Aquaman.
On day 5. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Birdman.
And Birdman.
Is there a Birdman?
There sure is Birdman with Michael Keaton.
Right. Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. So
and the Birdman of Alcatraz, he's that too.
He's all of those. So that's day 5. Day 6, he creates land creatures. And it goes through this whole thing. I don't understand it. All of these things are created after their kind. So he creates cattle and every creeping thing and beast of the earth after their kind. And God made
Does that mean, is he talking about how when they reproduce the same version of the thing?
You tell me. I'll read it to you verbatim.
Yeah.
And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So that makes all the sense in the world.
This comes from a time where people were probably fucking surprised that tigers just made tigers and they didn't also make butterflies and earthworm, right? They probably
I don't know. Like, at this point, it is clear. But there's no point in human history when it wasn't clear that when two gazelles fuck, they make a gazelle.
Yeah.
There's just no point when that was a problem.
And two goats just make another goat.
So why they would have to differentiate this? Anyway.
Because they were stupid, Dan.
Well, they were a dumb group of people.
They were stupid, but their book maintains, and we all get to enjoy all of the wisdom and scientific factuality that comes out of it.
Right. Now, the very last thing, we're ending day 6 here. It's coming to a close.
Saturday night.
And God decides to make a hymn. God decides to make both hymns and hers. God makes people on day 6.
Saturday night. Saturday night, it's time for people.
Yep, absolutely. God says, behold, I've given God. So God creates man in his own image.
Yeah.
In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Yeah.
So God is both male and female, apparently, in that. Anyway,
yeah.
And then God says, and by the way, all the rest of this shit is for you.
Right.
So there's our basic roundup.
Don't be confused by the light. I think I fixed that.
I think I've got day and night sorted. You tell me.
The switch is a little fritzy, so just fuck with it and it'll work out. And then
if the moon sometimes goes away, I haven't figured that one out yet. So about once a month, you're going to just lose that thing, but it'll come back.
And then all the kind after kind after kind, creepy and beastie and fishy and birdie thing, you can eat all that shit. Just don't eat apples.
Well, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
That's chapter 2.
Oh,
and
God.
chapter 2 is where it gets really, really fuzzy.
Yes.
Because we've got a solid timeline.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's a week. We've got a calendar week now.
We've got and chapter 2 starts with, by the way, on the 7th day God rested, and now every 7th day is Sabbath and it's holy, and that's when God apparently creates religion.
Right.
So
that's when he mowed the lawn, he watched the game.
Right.
Hung out with his friends.
So, boom, we've got the week.
Right.
And that's the most important invention we've got, apparently.
Yeah.
Then we get into the story. We're going to start the story of Adam and Eve.
Okay.
Now, Adam and Eve, as you might have guessed.
It's not Adam and Steve, Dan.
You're goddamn right it's not.
You know what I'm saying?
As you might have guessed, those are humans.
Yes.
Those are people.
Right.
Those are day 6 folk, then.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Wrong.
Okay.
Let's get into it. These are the generations of the heaven and the earth when they were created. In the day the Lord God made them, made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb in the field before it grew.
Wait.
For the Lord had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. Now that's
okay. So
a little confusing. So I'm going to switch from King James to the New International Version.
Cool.
Now no shrub had yet appeared on earth, and no plant had yet sprung up. For the Lord God had not sent rain on the earth, and there was no one to work the ground.
I'm just raising my hand.
Yes, Mark, I will call on you.
Okay. Day 3?
Plants are day 3.
Okay. But now they're not.
Well, are they? Anyway, let me continue.
Because clearly, as we all know from observing the earth,
yeah,
no plant can grow without a man to till the soil.
Apparently not.
Yes.
So we're coming from that. But streams came up from the earth and watered the whole surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being.
So at the end of chapter 1 ends Saturday night.
Saturday night, he creates people.
People are extant.
Right.
Adam and Eve are just checking it out.
Right. But then we seem to have gone back in time to day 3 before there were plants.
Right. And people.
And then, long before there were people.
Yeah.
3 days before there were people.
Days before people.
And then he just accidentally creates a man on the wrong day.
Out of mud.
Out of dirt.
Yes. I think mud, it holds together better.
Sure. Absolutely. Then there's a weird... then he creates the Garden of Eden.
Oh.
And apparently he created Adam for the sole purpose of being slave labor in this garden.
Right, to make the plants grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it actually says that. And he's got some rivers flowing, and that's watering some stuff, which is great because he hasn't even, one assumes that he hasn't even created the sun, the moon, and the stars yet. If we're still in day 3. Let's assume that we've moved on to day 4.
Okay,
I don't know.
Where's Eve?
Nowhere. She doesn't exist yet.
So she got... Okay.
So hang on.
Yeah. I work in the film industry, and we have this thing when we shoot that's called continuity. And that's how you make sure that a character that doesn't exist yet, that you haven't been introduced yet, doesn't wander into an early scene of the movie because you're going to introduce them for real in scene 35.
Every movie set has a person whose entire job it is.
Yes, to sit there and notice this shit.
To notice it, to take Polaroids of all of the people so that they can say, like, oh, nope, you're not wearing that tie yet.
That's right. You picked it up in your left hand, not your right.
They did not do that for this book.
There was not a script supervisor.
We needed one.
God the Father, who created the Sky Vault.
He hadn't created script supervisors yet.
What day were script supervisors created on? Well, not in the first 7, apparently.
Not in the first 7. So here we go. We've got this man wandering around pre-day 6 somehow.
Or post day 6, and they just voiped the day 3 through 6 out of chapter 2.
Yeah, I don't know what okay.
Look, but it's continuous because it says at the beginning of chapter 2, God rested on the 7th day.
Yeah.
This is the cliffhanger was people created Saturday night. Tune in next week, picking up with God resting on the 7th day, all that already having happened.
Right.
Okay.
But it does feel like they said, let me go back a bit.
But it doesn't.
Because there's no plants.
But
it goes back.
It just ignores whoever the guy who wrote the first chapter.
Look, stop arguing just listen.
They got a new showrunner for chapter 2, and he just was like, "Oh fuck." Okay.
They did get a new showrunner, so now like they had to recast a couple people. They've offered no explanation whatsoever.
Right.
And they're just ignoring a few of the plot points from
the pilot,
from the first season.
From the pilot. Yeah.
So finally, God then brings in a bunch of animals. So apparently man was created before the animals now in the reboot.
Right.
And God has Adam name all of them however he wants. And also he's like, hey, you see anybody you like among these animals, keep them for your helper.
Okay.
And
I don't like where this is going.
Weirdly,
we did animal law last week.
Yeah, exactly. Weirdly, Adam decides that none of them are good enough for his helper.
Yeah, what a prick. Little choosy for being alone.
Right? Well, they can't talk and whatever. Anyway, so God decides he's going to make him a helper, puts him to sleep, rips out one of his ribs.
Yeah.
And then makes a woman.
Rib girl.
Apparently he needed some DNA. I don't know.
Rib girl, yeah.
Rib girl, yeah, exactly. So now we've got woman being made completely different day than men. So,
which is now like really, if we're trying to keep track at home, this is like day 9.
Yeah, we've lost track of the days entirely at this point.
So one could interpret that there are 2 competing Adam and Eves.
There's 2 competing creation stories entirely.
But okay, if this was written by the people who wrote Lost,
right?
There's 2 Gardens of Eden. There's 2 Adam and Eves because there's 2 creation stories with 2 different people, with 4 people.
Well, the thing is, no, because in the first one, God just creates men and women, like people.
Multiple people.
So I feel like
Plural people.
Maybe we didn't even. Maybe the first chapter didn't even envision a Garden of Eden at all. It was just like, I'm going to drop some on them. I'm going to drop plants. I'm going to do fish, and I'm going to do birds.
Vault.
I'm going to do a vault. I'm going to do animals and people. Go. And then they went back and they were like, let's be more specific and let's have some real fun.
I think
with
that's
this
very
one.
generous. I think that's a very generous Genesis.
Yeah.
That you've just tried to pull there.
Yeah.
I think it's just a shitty mess that two different people wrote, and
Right.
nobody bothered to think about these don't jive.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, and that I don't think we need to go much further beyond that, because after this, we launch into this, the story that we'll have to get to soon, which is the story of Adam and Eve.
Right.
Which makes total sense.
Which has led to thousands of years of the needless suffering of women.
Yeah.
And this is the original sex shaming story.
I'll leave you with how we end chapter 2 of Genesis.
Oh God.
Which is that the Lord God made a woman from the rib he had taken out of the man, and he brought her to the man. The man said, "This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man." Which that's the only time that's ever been the case.
Sure.
And then verse 24 says that this is no longer a quote from Adam. Verse 24 says, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." Does that make any sense to you?
It makes no sense to me at all. I already hate. Usually when you start a new series, you start binge watching a new series.
Sure.
You give it 3 episodes.
Sure.
If it's not good after 3 episodes, you're just like,
Right.
I'm out. I'll go back to watching Arrested Development or something.
Correct.
But I feel like we're about 3 episodes into this, and I don't like it.
No, it's not worth your time.
It's super bad.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rate it a thumbs down.
Wardrobe is really like stupid and minimal.
Well, speaking of wardrobe, I will give the very last verse of chapter 2.
Okay, do it.
Which may be enough of a cliffhanger.
Okay.
To get you on to the next episode.
Okay.
We'll see.
All right.
Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame.
All right, fucking, I'm going to watch the next episode.
Yeah, we got you, baby. We got you.
Well, gee, Dan, thanks for that, the story of creations.
Yeah.
That was really under-informative.
It makes every bit of nothing. There's nothing in there of any value except to understand how the sky works, which is the water is kept above us.
Yeah, the orbiting ocean. So
right.
All that is true, people. Love it, live it, learn it. Let's move on.
And move on.